Welcome to another episode of the Sleeper Dynasty Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Lehman. If you haven't already, pause the podcast, go leave a like, go leave a follow, subscribe, whatever the fuck it's called on your platform that you're listening to this podcast on. Leave a 5-star rating or review. I'd appreciate it. Also, follow us on our social media platforms, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Sleeper Dynasty. And if you haven't already, go check out this hashtag Sleeper Gang merch. You can go ahead and pause this podcast and head on over to sleeperdynasty.com. And you can get your CD Lamb limited t-shirt or Jordan Love limited t-shirt designs. And also, if you really want a custom t-shirt, just send me a DM. Let me know what you want, and I'll get it for you. It's cheaper than buying a jersey, and you're supporting a good cause. Thank you. All right, in other news, I got fired from my job of 9 years. On my 9-year work anniversary, I walked in, and they fired me. So I'm fucked right now. No, to be honest with you, it's a good opportunity to go full-time as a podcaster, fantasy football podcaster full-time. That doesn't really pay the bills. So if you can, go buy a fucking t-shirt. It helps out a lot. But in other news, I am currently unemployed. So with that being said, maybe I can stop being fucking depressed and put out some more fantasy football content if you guys like that. So please support the show. It's just really, it's not a full-time job. It's just a fun thing for me. And I have a lot of stuff going on. So life gets hard, guys. Life gets hard. And I'm about to get fucking deep. One thing you guys probably don't know about me is I'm a deep person. But 9 years, same job, grinded it out. Sometimes you get stuck in the grind, you know? And that's why we try to escape to fantasy football. We all got stuff we're dealing with. We all got stuff that we need to be listening to a podcast because we're trying to get away and escape. So hopefully that's what this is for you guys. If you're stuck in the grind, trying to pay those bills, trying to feed that family, I feel you. So, not to be depressing as fuck, but there's better things ahead, to be honest with you. I've already heard from some people about some good opportunities, so I'll keep you guys updated. On that. So we're in the dead heat of the desert, and we're deserted by fantasy football shit going on right now. T-Law just got paid, got a big bag of money. Big bag. And, you know, there's some other people who are getting paid big money too. I'm pretty sure Jordan Love is about to get paid. I'm not excited that he's getting a bag, but I am excited that we have a quarterback. So there we go. But today on the podcast, I'm probably going to label this as a 4-round rookie mock draft to make it sound spicy. But to be honest with you, we're just going to be looking at Sleeper ADP, going round for round, seeing where people are at, and seeing what's changing in the market right now. And I will say I came out with my rankings a month ago. And just to explain how I do my rankings are primarily, I start off with statistics to, you know, kind of see where everybody's at. And then I'll go in there and I make my own little tweaks. And then also the statistics are combined with ADP. There's a formula that I've put together that puts them together. And then of course I go in at the end of it and I adjust. Oh, I like this guy a little bit more than that guy. I like this guy less, you know? So that's how I do my rankings. There's nothing crazy about my rankings, but I will say I use statistics, fantasy football projections for year one, and I use ADP. And the reason I use ADP and the reason I want to talk about it is because the reason I play fantasy football, or the way that I play fantasy football, is kind of like a stock market, right? And that's what makes it fun for me. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, I just want to fucking win. I get it. That's how I was my first year in fantasy football, in dynasty fantasy football. And I won like all of my leagues that year. But then what happened the next year is all my guys got old and I was like, this isn't fucking fun at all. All my guys are old. Nobody wants to trade for them. Now I play football like a stock market and I always have guys that people are willing to trade for. And I like having that flexibility because like today, somebody offered me like Puka, DJ Moore for Breece Hall and also Puka. So they offered, this was the trade, Puka, DJ Moore, and Austin Eckler for Breece Hall. I love Breece Hall to death. But to me, the value just for Puka is almost the same as Breece Hall. So DJ Moore and Austin Eckler on top of that to kind of replace Breece Hall, because I did need a quarterback in that league. You don't get those opportunities all the time. But you do when you have good players on your team and you keep increasing the value over time. That stacked value becomes a stacked roster. And I've done this in all of my leagues. And I'm not saying my roster is the best, but it is one of the most valuable rosters in every league just because I stack value. And that makes it flexible. Whenever I get into the playoffs, I can use that value to be like, hey, what's my team missing a couple weeks before playoffs? If I'm missing a tight end, I'm not going to buy a tight end at the beginning of the season. I'm going to buy a tight end at the end of the season when those losing teams are trying to get off their tight ends. And I need a tight end to go in the playoffs to win the year. That's what I did with Evan Ingram last year in one of my leagues that I won. Bought Evan Ingram with a second round pick. It hurt. Yeah, but I won the league with it. So that's what you do. You stack value. That's what I do. Stack value, convert that value into whatever you need it to be to win a championship. That's how I play. But all right, let's get started with the 4-round rookie mock draft. We're going off a sleeper ADP. So 101, Caleb Williams. 102, Marvin Harrison Jr. 103, Malik Nabers. 104, Jayden Daniels. That's how it's going right now. That's how I got it too. 105, Rome Odunze. 106, Brock Bowers. And 107, JJ McCarthy. I think, to be honest with you, that's kind of where things are changing. JJ McCarthy is coming up to where Drake Maye was. So honestly, the beginning of the draft, kind of chalk the same way it would be with, some people will be lower on certain players, obviously, but those first 7 players are going within those first 7 picks in some order. And sometimes I've had like Jayden Daniels fall because nobody likes how old he is. Or you have Rome Odunze fall. So you just, that's kind of how it goes. There's nothing crazy about the first 7. 108, Drake Maye. I don't know why. I think it's because of the rushing upside. I like Drake Maye a lot more than I like JJ McCarthy. I know JJ McCarthy is going into this scenario that's literally perfect. He's going to have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones. He's going to sling it and he's going to have a good year. So I think their point totals between Drake Maye and JJ McCarthy might be fairly similar. But for some reason, I just don't find myself drafting JJ McCarthy around this range. So, there is a point where I would draft him towards the end of the first, but I don't ever, in all of my leagues that I've drafted in, I don't find myself drafting JJ McCarthy. I like Drake Maye more. So that's the one problem I have with this draft so far is just Drake Maye kind of getting hated on. And I feel like with the rushing upside that he has the potential to be the best quarterback in this class, right? He's inconsistent, and that's why I didn't like him pre-draft as much as... I was comparing him to... I did a video pre-draft, Jayden Daniels versus Drake Maye, and I like Jayden Daniels more, but getting Drake Maye this much later in the first round, like, I know this much later, it's a couple picks, but I feel like that's a steal for Drake Maye. So... yeah, there's a guy in my league, like all my leagues, that loves Drake Maye. Shout out to Sam. And he gets him in every single league, like right before I have a pick. And good for him, because that's a great fucking pick. It's a great player. I like the value with Drake Maye. So moving on. 109, Xavier Worthy. I don't feel like Sleeper ADP has caught up with Xavier Worthy's value, because I see Xavier Worthy dropping down a little bit. So right after Xavier Worthy at 110, we have Jonathon Brooks, 111, Brian Thomas Jr. So I see Jonathon Brooks right now rising up the board, and he's almost valued close with like JJ McCarthy right now. So it's a lot of people right now. They're kind of forgetting the pre-draft hate for the running backs, and they're slowly, I see this trend with all the running backs right now. They're all slowly creeping up the board. So don't be surprised whenever the season is here and people are like taking Jonathon Brooks like freaking 105 over Rome Odunze and Brock Bowers because he's the RB1, right? And we get some preseason hype for Jonathon Brooks, being back to full health. But I do think that Jonathon Brooks right here, that's not where he's going to stay at 110. He's moving up the board. Like, he's trending up right now. Another person that's trending up is Brian Thomas over Xavier Worthy, even though he's at 111 in this draft. I am loving the Twitter film that's coming out with Brian Thomas running without pads on. He looks fast as hell. 4.39 40 time, 6'3", 210 pounds. The guy's a beast, dude. I love Brian Thomas Jr. And I find myself in every single league. He is my most drafted player. Like, without a doubt, my most drafted player. Brian Thomas Jr. is my dude. I will take him at the 108, or I will take him at the 112 if he falls to the 112, which it seems like he does. So I liked Brian Thomas Jr. pre-draft almost as much as I liked Rome Odunze. Now, saying that now, that's stupid. Rome Odunze is going over Brian Thomas Jr. But I'm not going to forget about the love I had pre-draft for Brian Thomas Jr. And I'm not going to sit here and start drafting people over a guy who's going into a good situation with top 5 vacated targets in the league in Jacksonville with a quarterback that throws the ball 600 times in a season. And Brian Thomas Jr. by the end of the year could be the one on the Jaguars. So Brian Thomas Jr. is deadly. And a lot of people are still putting Xavier Worthy. They're getting the hype of the speedy guy. Don't forget that Xavier Worthy is small as hell. And now I do think Xavier Worthy should be going within these 3 picks. But 5'10", 165 pounds, I could throw that guy down. So Brian Thomas Jr. for me over Xavier Worthy all day long. And another thing that I don't think people understand is that Patrick Mahomes is going to spread the ball around. And this could be a good long-term pick, right? Xavier Worthy is like, his upside is like Tank Dell, right? But just be aware of the fact that like he's fast, but he's a little bit scarier of a prospect than Brian Thomas Jr. for me. Brian Thomas Jr. just has all the measurables. I like him better on tape, but I think long-term Xavier Worthy will be great, but just Brian Thomas Jr. for me is better. All right. So moving on. 112, Ladder McConkey. 2-1, Keon Coleman. 202, Trey Benson. So this is, I really see Lad. A lot of people are moving up Lad just because of the opportunity, I think. And he was really efficient in college, but I don't find myself drafting Lad in like any leagues. All right. I think the Lad hype is a little too much, and I think it's going to fall off. Like, if we had T. Higgins go to the Chargers, and you could say this about any team, right? Like, T. Higgins could go to the Jags, and then I'm sitting here crying about BTJ. But if T. Higgins went to the Chargers, like, we're not second guessing who the one is there. it's T. Higgins, right? Like, but I just think a lot of people are looking at the opportunity, and he does have a good opportunity. And to be honest with you, I don't draft him anywhere, but he's going to have the opportunity to be that guy. He has Quentin Johnston there. Quentin Johnston could have a bounce back year, but Justin Herbert's going to sling the ball. So he's going to have that opportunity. So I don't not like Ladder McConkey at the 112. It's when Lad starts getting up into like before Brian Thomas or Xavier Worthy, that's when I'm like, all right, y'all need to chill. Cause ain't no way. There ain't no way. Like, you might be right, but not me. That seems risky as hell. Keon Coleman, man, 201. That feels kind of like, yeah, I feel good about that. He's probably going to be the one there with Josh Allen. So that's a good value at the 201. 202, Trey Benson. I really like this value for Trey Benson. Like, Trey Benson, by the end of the year, in my opinion, is going to be the running back one for the Cardinals. And if that's the case, like, you could make an argument that like Trey Benson could have a better year than Jonathon Brooks, because Jonathon Brooks is going to be, he's injured. He's recovering from an ACL. And I think that's baked into his value right now. And that's why he's not going at like top of the first, mid first, is because he has an ACL injury. But yeah, you could make an argument that Trey Benson has a better rookie season than Jonathon Brooks, just based off the injury alone. Like, they're going to be bringing Jonathon Brooks back slowly. So there's no rush for the Panthers to bring on Jonathon Brooks to be their bell cow. So that being said, Trey Benson, he was a lot of people's RB1 pre-draft. So getting him at the top of the second, like, that's a pretty damn good value. All right, 203, Bo Nix. That's for a first round quarterback. I like it. 204, Ricky Pearsall. 205, Xavier Legette. I'm really happy those guys' values are kind of going up, because I was seeing them being taken at like the end of the third in some leagues. So people are finally figuring out that they were drafted in the first round and that they should be moving them up the board. So I like Ricky Pearsall and Xavier Legette there. Those are great values. It's like you're getting into the mid-second and you're still getting first-round guys. So next we have at the 206, Adonai Mitchell. That's a little rich for me. I like a couple other guys better. I like Adonai more at like the late second, but he has an opportunity to break out with Anthony Richardson, and he looks really good on tape. Really good, like the Twitter videos that have been coming out about Adonai Mitchell, like running in practice. He looks like a beast. And his relative athletic score was like super high, because he's a big guy and he's really, really fast. So I like Adonai. I don't know if he's going to have as much opportunity with a rushing quarterback, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs. You know, that's going to be kind of difficult for him to get going, but he does have the talent. He does have the talent to break out. So then at the 207, Michael Penix Jr. This I love Michael Penix value, dude. Like, I loved Michael Penix's tape, and being able to get a first round top 8 pick in the NFL draft at like the mid to late second, I will take that all day long, dude. You do not get that in any other year. So if you have a chance to draft Michael Penix, do it. Because if he starts this year, the hype, you can trade him away for a first. Bare minimum. If he starts, if Kirk Cousins is slow to recover from his ACL, if he's having some issues, Achilles, if he's looking bad, his Achilles is getting sore, whatever, like, bet against a guy with an Achilles injury. All right. I mean, for quarterback, it doesn't matter as much. For running back, it's like a death knell. But yeah, I really like Michael Penix value there. All right. 208, Blake Corum. I think Blake Corum is going up the board because of all the Sean McVay hype in camp saying that he's looking really good. I personally just think that Kyron Williams is the dude there. I think Blake Corum is just a change of pace back. Blake Corum is still someone I'm not drafting. I don't like him here. Like, that, this is way too rich for me at the 208, but he is still a guy that if he falls down the board a little bit, like into the third, I'll grab him just because I'm like, there is a scenario, say Kyron Williams goes down, he's the guy, right? Sean McVay offense, like he's the dude. So keep in mind that like Kyron Williams is only like 3 months older than Blake Corum. Like that's how old Blake Corum is. So these running backs, like I like Jonathon Brooks and I like Trey Benson, but then once you start getting to like Blake Corum, MarShawn Lloyd, Ray Davis, like these guys are like old. They're old. And even if they hit, they're so old to the point where they're not like going to be these crazy cheat codes for dynasty, right? Like if they pop off, you only got them for a couple more years. So don't be overbuying those types of running backs. Next, we got 209, Jaylen Polk. Love that. I love Jaylen Polk at the 209. Like, he's probably going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Patriots. He's getting great reports coming out of camp. Jaylen Polk is going to be a dude. All right. He's kind of like, he feels like the Jayden Reed of last year, where he's going to go into a situation. Maybe it starts off slow, but you know, Kayshon Boutte, do you think Kayshon Boutte is going to beat him out for targets? You know, they got Juju, they got some other guys there, but I really think that Jaylen Polk has the talent to be the one in that room. So great pick at the 209. 210, Troy Franklin. I don't find myself drafting a lot of Troy Franklin. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but there is a scenario like Troy Franklin was going at the end of the first pre-draft. So Troy Franklin, he has Bo Nix. They have a connection. It's not a bad pick there. I love how athletic Troy Franklin is. He's really skinny. But there is a scenario where like Troy Franklin is a dude. All right. So I don't hate that at the 210. 211, we have Ben Sinnot. If you're in a tight end premium league, that's a great pick. Ben Sinnot is like a bowling ball on the field, and he is a good pass catching tight end. So he's already getting some hype out of camp. Jayden Daniels is throwing the ball his way. So I think he's going to have a good opportunity his rookie season. I don't think he's going to break fantasy necessarily, but we've had a lot of tight ends break out in their rookie seasons last year. So, you know, look out for Ben Sinnot, man. Ben Sinnot could be sneakily good. Sneakily good this season. Then at the 212, Jaylen Wright. I don't draft a lot of Jaylen Wright, but this feels like a really good value for Jaylen Wright. If you believe that he could become the guy in Miami, if you believe that Devon Achane, if you believe that Devon Achane is not going to be the guy, or if you think he's going to get injured, I do believe that Devon Achane. I don't know why I can't stop doing it. Achane. I'm going to call him Achane. Devon Achane. I think he's the guy in Miami. I think Jaylen Wright can come in and be a change of pace. The thing about Jaylen Wright is I love Jaylen Wright's film, and he's really athletic. So he could come in and be a bell cow guy, but like, are you really going to have enough snaps with Devon Achane there? So yeah, it's a risk. Like, bet on the talent, right? That's what, if you're taking him at the 212, you're betting on that talent. And you know, it's better in my opinion than like drafting Blake Corum or MarShawn Lloyd or Ray Davis, like for his age, because he's a younger guy. So yeah, if you really like Jaylen Wright, that's fine in my opinion. Next, we're going to rattle off. We're entering the third round. So 301, Roman Wilson. That's great value for Roman Wilson. I love Roman Wilson. I don't find myself drafting him in a lot of leagues. I think most of the time I take Jaylen Polk over Roman Wilson. I think I'm going to regret that, but I'm taking Jaylen Polk just because of the draft capital over Roman Wilson. I think Roman Wilson was like a third round guy. So Jayden Polk is a second. So I usually go with the draft capital there. That's kind of like the deciding factor for me. But I loved Roman Wilson pre-draft, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are really good at drafting wide receivers. So there is a world where Roman Wilson could be a target monster on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to run the ball a lot. Arthur Smith is there. To be honest with you, I think the reason I'm not drafting Roman Wilson is because of Arthur. I do not like that guy. Strong words for that guy. He ruined Desmond Ridder's career. I was a huge Ridder fan for the value. Like I'm not saying like I was taking Desmond Ridder high. Like he was a 3rd round rookie pick, but I really liked Desmond Ridder, and Arthur just destroyed that man's career. So yeah, I don't like any players that are attached to him as an offensive coordinator, especially if it's a wide receiver in a run first offense where he's just going to frustrate all of the Najee owners out there. So yeah, screw Arthur, man. Screw Arthur. Fuck him. All right. 302 MarShawn Lloyd. That's, at this point, that's a good pick, potentially comes in to take some snaps away from Josh Jacobs. But again, I don't love the age of MarShawn Lloyd. And there were a lot of people that love MarShawn Lloyd saying like he's the best running back in the draft. Like I'm a Packers fan. So if you're hearing this from me, man, I'm not too high on MarShawn Lloyd. So there you go. The 303, we got Malachi Corley. I don't like Malachi Corley. We're in the 3rd round, so let's stop being picky about these picks. Don't love Malachi Corley. There is a potential where he's the wide receiver too, but you got Mike Williams there. You got Garrett Wilson's going to be a target hog. I don't even know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy this year. So not a huge Malachi Corley fan. I love his talent, but I don't like this. I don't like the situation. So if you're taking him there, you're betting on the talent. 304, JT Sanders, hate it. 305, Jermaine Burton. A lot of people like Jermaine Burton. Like he was a sleeper and then very quickly became the guy that everybody liked. And they started reaching for Jermaine Burton. So I like Jermaine Burton if you can get him late, like if you're pulling him off of waivers, but not a huge fan of that situation, man. I know everybody's saying that T. Higgins is going to be on his way out. He probably is, but you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. There's not a lot to go around there. So what do I know? Maybe Jermaine Burton could pop off. I'm not saying that he doesn't have that potential. Puka Nacua popped off. He was like a 4th round pick last year. So Jermaine Burton, there's a reason why a lot of people like him and chose him as their sleeper. So he's a decent option at this point in the draft. 306, Javon Baker. I'm a Jaylen Polk guy. That makes me not like Javon Baker as much, but there's an opportunity. You're getting him like a round later. So if you think he's the guy, go get yourself Javon Baker. I find myself picking Javon Baker like up off of waivers sometimes. And in that case, like I love that. 307, Ray Davis. Hate that, dude. That man is old as hell. He is like 24 going on 25 right now. That guy's old. I do not want Ray Davis on my team. I don't care how good he is. For Dynasty, nuh-uh. Even if he hits, he's already ancient and I'm trying to get rid of him. So, yeah, Ray Davis, man. Fuck him. Luke McCaffrey, I like that at the 308. His last name's McCaffrey, man. His last name's McCaffrey. I mean, what else do you have to say? Kimani Vidal at the 309. I think Kimani Vidal, I haven't gotten him in as much leagues, but Kimani Vidal, man, he's like that sleeper running back for the Chargers, right? And they just lost Gus Edwards. There is a situation where Kimani Vidal comes in and is a bell cow. You're betting against J.K. Dobbins. It's a pretty good player to bet against as far as his injury history goes. Isaiah Spiller, man, that guy's not going to work out. So at this point, Kimani Vidal at the 309, I'll take him, man. I'll take Kimani Vidal. He's kind of looking good. So then we got Jalen McMillan at the 310. This is a phenomenal pick. I mean, he doesn't really have an opportunity right now, but I think Jalen McMillan is one of those guys that can develop and become a good wide receiver for the Bucks. So 310, 311, Bucky Irving. I'm not a huge Bucky Irving fan. I think Rachaad White is the guy. He could go in and surprise us. At this point, it's worth a dart throw. He looked good in college. So, I mean, not a huge Bucky Irving fan, but hey, 311, it's fine. 312, Braelon Allen, man. I love taking Braelon Allen. And I know it's just because he's a big running back, and I love those guys. I love those guys with the juicy thighs, man. The juicy thighs, they always get me, dude. They always get me. But bare minimum, this guy's career is bare minimum A.J. Dillon. All right? That is his floor. Breece Hall has had injury history, and I know Breece Hall is there, so everybody's like, screw this guy, right? Braelon Allen was a monster in college, okay? Just a freaking monster, dude. I love Braelon Allen. He didn't run a 40 at the combine, but I did the calculations. Even if he ran like a slow 40 at the combine, he still would have had a relative athletic score of like 9.8. Okay? He is massive, and he does not look massive when he is on film. He looks very jittery. He's Big O with the Jets. He looks like an NFL player. Like, he's almost the size of Derrick Henry. This is one of those guys where, like, you just keep an eye on him, man. Just keep him stashed. Because if Breece Hall goes down, which he's already having, like, injury concerns with his lower half, they say, in reports, he's having lower half issues. If you have Breece Hall, this is a handcuff. You got to get him. Because he's the RB2 on the Jets. And he has the potential, if he is given that opportunity, Braelon Allen is going to be a dog. He's going to be a dog. End of story. I love Braelon Allen. I love the value. I love that you can pick him up off of waivers. I love the fact you can get him in the 3rd or 4th round. We're going into the 4th round right now, guys. You're getting Braelon Allen. You're getting like one of the guys who, in my opinion, was one of the best backs in the class. Just because he's sitting behind Breece Hall doesn't mean I don't want a super talented guy. All right. I'll probably get hate for that, but I love Braelon Allen, and that's why I'm taking some time to talk about Braelon. All right, 401. We're going to go through this real quick. 401, Brendan Rice, like it. He's going to have an opportunity with the vacated targets. 402, Tez Walker with Baltimore. I do like Tez Walker here, because is he going to have like a large opportunity? No, but he's a speedy guy, good RAS score, like 9.8, 9.9 RAS score. So Baltimore got a steal with Tez Walker. And the only reason his production profile in college wasn't as good is because he was ineligible with UNC for however long. It was super unfair. They finally let him become eligible, and then he went off with Drake Maye when he had eligibility. So Tez Walker could be a sneaky one in the 4th round. 403, Audric Estime with Denver. You know, they're talking about Javonte. They're talking about Jaleel McLaughlin as the RB1. Javonte Williams could be cut. That is not going to happen, but, you know, Audric Estime rolling the dice in the 4th. 404, Tyrone Tracy. This one's kind of interesting. This one's interesting because of the opportunity for the Giants. They don't really have a guy. So, Tyrone Tracy, a lot of people like him. So, roll the dice. I don't find myself getting Tracy a lot, but his tape did look good. He looks like a dude. He looks like someone who could break out. So keep an eye on him. 405, Isaac Gruendo. Hate it. 406, Jordan Travis. He went to the Jets. He's behind Rodgers. 407, Theo Johnson. I like that with the Giants. Like, that one's kind of interesting. They just had Darren Waller retire. So you got Bellinger, Daniel Bellinger there. So you know, you don't know. You never know. Theo Johnson could be a dude. 408 Spencer Rattler. That one's interesting because Derek Carr sucks. He is ass. So Spencer Rattler, he could be a dude. I mean, even though this is a lottery ticket. These quarterbacks this late, they're lottery tickets. I would pick up Spencer Rattler off of waivers or at the end of the fourth. That's a pretty good lottery ticket. 409, Will Shipley. Man, Will Shipley at the 409. That one feels good. That one feels real good because Will Shipley, I mean, him and Braelon Allen, I find myself trying to get off of waivers or late in drafts. If Saquon Barkley gets injured, Will Shipley is going to be the dude. So I didn't really like Will Shipley's film, but you never know, man. This late in the draft, roll the dice. 410, Malik Washington. Really sucks that he had to go to Miami. I don't really see an opportunity there. 411, Dylan Laube. Laube could have a good opportunity. He had some really good production profile from college. A lot of pass catching. He could be a really good back if Zeus doesn't end up panning out. But I still think Zeus is the guy there. I think I don't really see Laube overtaking him. But at the 411, man, roll the dice. And then we got 412, wrapping it up with Cade Stover out of Houston. Ugh. Mr. Irrelevant there. I don't really. He's tied to CJ Stroud. There you go. I wasn't a huge fan of Cade Stover's film, but if he does break out, hey, there you go. Like, he's attached to Stroud, and why am I talking about Cade Stover, man? Just not a huge fan. Let's see some of the guys, the unmentioned. Eric All. I like that one. I like that one better than Cade Stover. Eric All to the Bengals, dude. Yeah, I like that one off of waivers. Rashina Lee at Baltimore. I like that one. Yeah, that's about it. So that's going to wrap it up for today's pod. If you made it to this point, thank you for listening. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's been a really rough couple of weeks for me, but just having you guys support the show, having you guys listen all the way to the end. I love you guys. Love you guys so much. Make sure to check out sleeperdynasty.com. Check out the merch. We got Jordan Love. We got CeeDee Lamb. I think we got CJ Stroud coming out soon. If you want a specific player, please let me know. I will have my wife design it. And these shirts are really, really good quality. I'm going to wear them around 24/7. I high quality shirts, dog. If you want it, if you like the oversized look, you can get it like a size up. It's really, I love the material of the shirt. It's really like heavy cotton, oversized. But yeah, my wife does a really good job on the designs, and I work on the process of making the designs with her. So like I said, I lost my job, so go help me out, guys. But no, I'm not going to guilt you guys into it. But if you could, spread the love. If you haven't already, please take your ass, get it up off of wherever you're fucking sitting, and go on over. Walk your ass on over. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left. All the way over to the follow button. Like and subscribe. Leave a 5-star rating and review. Please. Also, go follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Sleeper Dynasty to check out the new designs that we're dropping. I'm usually on TikTok and Instagram more, but I do like to go over to the troll side of Twitter sometimes and retweet some stuff. X, sorry. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for listening. Peace.